Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing, my friend? My name is Talia Joy. Welcome to my cozy corner of the internet, my cave, my field, my forest. I don't know where this metaphor is going or what is going on now, but welcome to the show. I hope you're well. I hope you're hydrated. Take a sip of water right now. I hope you're well rested. I hope you're doing well and good and things are going well in your week, in your day, in your life. But if not, however you are dropping in today, you are welcome here. I see you. Welcome. Hi. So in this episode today, we are talking about something that came about very randomly. I intended to record an episode on something else that I was excited to record on, and this just dropped in. So we're going to talk today about how the plan won't stick if you don't have glue. We're going to talk about what glue is. We're going to talk about if you've ever made a plan that you didn't stick to, if you often find yourself going like, okay, I just need to figure it out. I just need to create the daily practice. I just need to create the plan, right? Or you go with something for a bit, or you know you should do this, this, and this, but it's hard to stick to it. So that's what we're talking about today. Hands up if you've ever made a plan that you haven't stuck to. I expect every single human's hand to be up, and maybe even some animals, who knows? But we know what we want to do. We know that it's going to be the morning routine that changes everything. We know that the fitness plan, we need that. We want the journaling habit. We want to create that, daily reflective time, the new budget, right? We create the thing that we're going to do or we're not going to do, or here's the plan. We're going to pull our life together. And then life comes along and we don't stick with it. Life happens. Our motivation dips. We're going to talk a bit about motivation today. Netflix releases something new that you just can't stay away from, whatever happens. And our plan starts to, fall by the wayside, and a day becomes 2 days, becomes a week, and we kind of go, right? But we know we can see this version of ourselves in our mind's eye that is sticking with it, that is waking up in the morning and is also reaping the benefits, is feeling good, right? The impact of meditating every day or journaling or tightening up on the money plan or whatever. They're experiencing that. They're kind of over the hump and really in that habit. So we do know that it would be in our highest good to have mindfulness time, to, have some structure around going for walks or exercising or that kind of thing. So why does this happen? Why do we get in our own way? And before we even go into the actual episode, I just want to say you don't have a motivation problem and you don't have a self-discipline problem. It's not about that. It's something else that's sneaky that's going on. And so we're going to talk about how the plan won't stick if you don't have glue. And it's not really the plan's problem. Any plan, can work if we stick to it. So what prevents us from sticking to the plan? That's what we're talking about. I'm also going to offer ways to create your individual plan of so we're moving through some of that more emotional stuff and self-sabotagey stuff. Now, what do I do? How do I make a plan from a more centered place? So we're going to talk about all of this because the plan is just a structure and it only works if you work it, if you stick to it. That's why we're talking about the glue. So I think we're good for that. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your water. Let's dive into this episode. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. Okay, we're going to first talk about why plans fall apart, why there is an on the wagon, off the wagon, why we do this, what's going on. So we all start out strong, or we all start out with a strong intention. We want to change, whether it's January 1st, or you're just sick of your own shit, or you are turning a certain age and you're going, I really want to start looking after my health, or, whatever happens. Maybe you just buy a new planner and you're overwhelmed with inspiration of, highlighting things and setting reminders. Okay, so we do this. For some of us, day one, it's going great, right? Day 2, day 3, I recently did something that I was really impressed. It was like 18 days solid. And then I started to even crumble and fall off. It was a meditation thing. I'll maybe share it in a minute. But, we're going well for a little bit. And then maybe day 5, day 8, whatever, maybe even day 2, we're now modifying the plan. We're putting it off till a little bit later. We're saying, well, I don't have to do it in the morning. I'll do it later. I'll do it after the thing. By day 10, we're going like, what plan, right? Or whatever day it is. So again, it's not that you're lazy, and it's not that you lack motivation, and it's not that you're bad at follow through. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath. It's not that you're bad or lazy or anything like that. It's because motivation is short term. Willpower, also short term. It holds for a bit, but eventually things start falling apart. You can't duct tape your car together, right? It looks great. Well, it may not look great, but it works for a second, and pretty soon things start falling apart. Willpower and motivation are short term. And there is a time and a place for like adrenaline, for intense focus, but life and growth and health and all of this stuff, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we have to have that glue, our why, the substance behind what we're doing for it to be consistent. We can know that yoga every day would be good for me, but if we don't address and create the glue that holds us together, the way that the plan is going to succeed, just knowing you should do yoga doesn't help. It actually adds more shame, guilt, things like that, because like, oh, I know I should, right? So I had a client, and she was talking recently about like, I don't get it. I don't know what to do. I make a plan and then I just don't follow through. And she was really focusing and feeling like she was betraying herself. And it really, because she's aware of like, why am I doing this to myself, right? It reminds me of the way that I think about things. I'm like, why am I, abandoning myself? Why am I doing this? And we started talking about, and Spirit was showing me about how where she needed to hear was about this, and about how it's not the plan, it's about what's holding the plan together. And so we started talking about more, soul alignment, your why, your deeper reason for these things, and also the way we go about creating the plan. I, as a human design reflector and an empath and a highly sensitive person and whatever else, I don't like too much rigidity. That was a hard one. I don't like to feel boxed in. My immediate response is don't box me in, right? And so I don't like that, but no structure, I flail. And my client was kind of like this, where she wanted a plan, but she didn't want to have to stick to the plan or else she felt guilty or bad about herself. So we actually created a plan that was based in flexibility. We'll talk about that in a second, but we wanted to first look at the deeper part of it. It's not about just what you're supposed to do. Because why? Who said it, right? How many people have said that I should do a certain thing, or, you should take this supplement, or you should work out, or you should whatever. Even if it's within yourself, what you think you should do, that's coming from pressure, not purpose. Even if our higher self, our inner guide, our intuition is saying, walking every day would be so good. As soon as our ego and our drill sergeant gets on board and goes, you should be doing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're up 8 a.m. and there's all of a sudden pressure, it taints it. It's like it poisons it. It's like it adds like MSG to kale. Okay. It's like it adds a taint to it now that isn't based in love. It's not purpose and it's not higher self. So even if at the end of the day, walking every day would really be good for you, as soon as we start coming from you should, we start losing the mark, because the reason why we want to do it ultimately is because we want to love ourselves, because we want to take care of ourselves. For me, moving out of an eating disorder and hating my body and everything that goes into that and how it intertwines with exercise, now being in a place of like, I want to strengthen my core, go on walks, do Pilates, do yoga, strength train because I love myself without the pressure. For me personally, this has been my journey of for the 10 pounds or to be a size whatever, or to accept myself. Now I come at it from I love myself. So like my body wants to thrive and I want to help it thrive. So again, it's not about the plan. It's about what's holding it together, the alignment, the why, the purpose behind it. So the other thing is that the universe, the laws of the universe don't respond to force, because what you push against pushes back. It responds to resonance. It responds to this feels good. This is in my higher good. Meaning when you're doing a workout, say, and you all of a sudden become in touch with, this is what my higher self does. This is self-love. Oh, I can feel it like as my blood's pumping or as my muscles are flexing or as I'm in a beautiful stretch. Like, yes, this is self-love. That's resonance. That's your being really in love and in resonance with your higher self. That is a place where we start to, there's so many levels. We heal as a human. Our nervous system can start to relax. As a soul, we're growing. It's like, it is a place of beauty. But if we're in that workout going, come on, and this is, trigger warning for the way I used to talk to myself, but I would say like, come on, fatty, we got to do it. Or, you're not ever going to lose 10 pounds if you don't get your ass to the gym and stuff like that. That is not resonance. That is dis-ease. So again, it's not the plan. It's not the thing you're doing. It's the glue. It's why you're doing it. It's who you're being while you're doing it. And if your plan isn't connected to your higher self, the part of you that knows why you're here, what you desire, what you're meant to experience, then of course it won't feel natural to follow. And we're trying to jam ourselves into someone else's plan. When I did Food Buddha and I would help people move out of diets after healing my own eating disorder, that was a big part, is like, we're trying to follow a plan set by somebody else for somebody else's body. But it doesn't take into account our hormone cycles, the moon cycles, how much we ate yesterday, the seasons, how we're feeling. And that's going to impact what our body craves and needs. So it's same. It's not about anything out there. It's about you. And when it's not aligned, when you're trying to do a plan that someone else says in a way someone else says, you're trying to use an app or you join some group and it's high pressure, but that doesn't resonate, it's not going to stick. It won't feel natural to follow. So let's talk about creating something that does feel natural to follow. Let's talk about the glue. So what is the actual glue that makes the plan stick? It's ultimately self-worth, self-love, and a deep why. As I touched on a minute ago, when you truly love and value yourself, you want to take care of yourself. And there's a lot of things that I've struggled with for like my whole life, and body and acceptance and health and fitness and all that. It's been one of them, starting with the eating disorder way back. And I realize now that love moves mountains so much further and longer term than the drill sergeant. You can try to lose 10 pounds for a wedding in 2 weeks, or you can tap into true love and value for yourself as the method or as the path. If 10 pounds would be healthier, just for that example, you could do it out of love and honor for yourself. You're getting up walking because you love yourself. You're limiting alcohol because you value your, digestion, or that's what your intuition's been nudging. Like, it comes from love. You want to take care of yourself. You don't force yourself to drink water. You do it because your body feels good and you deserve to be hydrated, and it feels good. It's necessary. It's fueling your body. We rest because we realize we're worthy of that. I started going to bed earlier. No, it's not about age. Maybe it is, but I started going to bed earlier substantially. Me and my husband both wanted to, maybe about a year ago, where it was like, I am worth even that extra half an hour and an hour of rest. And that is like, my body's worth it. I need it. And I'm worth that, instead of trying to stay up and, whatever else. So any goal, if I'm trying to get to bed by this time and it's all resistance, you're going to fight it. Don't press the red button. You're going to press it, because you're like me and we're going to press those things. But when it comes from, I deserve this, I want to feel better tomorrow, I want my body to flourish, I can't wait to get into bed. And I'm not resisting it because it's coming from love. So we take that same energy, that same teaching, and we apply it to other things. So any goal, when you believe you're worthy of it, when you want to show up, and even if you don't believe you're worthy of it now, that's the journey. When you realize that, then it even shifts your focus. And when you're starting to go like, should I go for a walk? Shouldn't I? You start to hear my voice. You start to hear those downloads you've had, those intuitive nudges, and go, F it, I'm worth it. Just get out there. Let's do it. Even 5 minutes. My body's worth that. Those moments are healing. Those moments are quantum leaps. Those moments are you on the right path to creating that new habit, to following that plan. So for any goal, when you believe you're worthy of it, or when you intend to show up because you're worthy of it, your goals are worthy of it, that type of thing, showing up becomes natural. And when something becomes natural in the quantum, it's already manifested, which means it has no other option but to come in. That's why we have to drop the hustle and the shoulds and shift into magnetism. If you're forcing yourself to follow a plan from a place of I have to, the energy's off. When you follow it from a place of I am worthy of this time, of this energy, of the results, I'm excited to show up for myself. I'm learning how to show up for myself. It starts to feel natural. It flows. It's even our brain lights up as our reward centers, right? You go for a walk going this does feel good. I'm so worthy of this. You're getting those pleasure centers. But if you're getting out there going oh God, another day. Okay, how many more minutes? It doesn't even feel good. So again, you get it, but it's really important, the glue that holds it together. The energy behind your actions determines whether they feel like a struggle or a soul-aligned choice. And once I told my client to work on that, have that be the focus, her self-worth, her belief that she deserved Pilates or to drink her water or to show up early or to meditate. She deserved to succeed. She deserved to feel good. She deserved to allow herself to move forward. The plan became easier. So there's also more to the glue, and we're going to get more tangible, don't worry. But there's more to the glue, and I want to call it grace or divine grace. So the first thing we just talked about was self-worth, self-love, your why, right? But the other part of it is grace, compassion, and flexibility. So when we think of a plan, a lot of us go to all or nothing in our mind. We imagine the person that's day 500 of meditation with 7 young children and a business. And you're like, what? We take all these different people we've seen that we determine as being really disciplined and focused. We also kind of make up sometimes we embellish in our mind, and it makes us feel like we have to be perfect. But it's very important for me, and I know if you're listening, I'm sure this is you. It's so important to learn how to have grace with ourselves and some sort of flexibility. Because even with the best plan, you are not the same you every day. And life throws us curveballs. Sometimes you think you have a day off and then a coworker's sick and you have to go in. Sometimes you think you have the house to yourself and then a kid's sick and they're home. Or sometimes you think you're going to the dentist and they cancel and then there's, a hold up over here and you're stuck in traffic for 3 hours and life will just happen. So even with the best plan, you will not show up the same every day. And there's no perfect and there's no bad and there's no good and there's no right and there's no wrong. It's you are going to be different every day. The moon cycles are different every day. You're different every day. So if your plan is built on perfection, it's not going to last. Rigid foundation is not going to last. In the Tao, they talk about how rigidity is associated with death and dying because, like a tree, when it's new, when it's young, it's flexible, its branches are flexible in the breeze, it bounces back, right? The palm tree analogy, you guys, especially on the path, I love. It can be blown down to the ground in a storm and come back up because it's flexibility. That's resilience. That's life. The Tao says it's associated with aliveness. Whereas rigidity and being inflexible, in a storm, your branches break off. You will not survive. And the Tao says it's associated with death and dying. So I just want you to think about that. Even the best plan needs to have some sort of flexibility. What if you were doing a Pilates everyday workout and you woke up or you got the stomach flu? No, knock on wood, because you're not going to get it. But you'd want to, of course, have grace. So you need to understand, and we need to understand, that even with the best plan, we are not going to be the same every day. Life is not going to be the same. So I've had clients that want morning routines. I've done this myself. And I had a client recently who literally mapped it all out. I was so proud of her. Wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, then we're going to journal, and then we're going to work out, and we're going to drink our lemon water, and then we're going to read, and then we're going to save the world, right? You get the point. But it was so awesome. And she was going along. And then one of the days we were working together on that day with voice memo. So she's like, oh my gosh, this morning the power had gone out. So her alarm didn't go off because she has an old school alarm. And then a few other things happened. And she's like, oh, I missed the 5 a.m., whatever. So we kind of just talked about how she can have the same vibe of showing up for yourself, but it might look a little different today because now she had an appointment, so she couldn't do some of the things till later. But if we just have the vibe of, I just love myself, I'm still going to show up for myself, she did most of it. Most of it ended up still getting accomplished, but she was in the energy of flexibility, and not everything was done exactly like the day before. Life isn't copy paste, but when the vibe is to show up for yourself, you realize that actually just coming back, and she still had some lemon water, she still meditated, she did her exercise, and she's like, actually, I'm really proud of myself. At the end of the day, even though life threw me curveballs, I still did show up for myself. It just looked a little bit different, right? But before, she would have, and I've been this way before, if we miss a day, we spiral, right? Like I said, by day 5, 6, we're like, what plan? And it's kind of like, I messed up, I might as well throw in the towel. And that won't have the plan last either. So what happens is if we don't build in flexibility, build in divine grace, then it won't work. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is the goal. In an actual marathon, I don't know if you ever run a marathon, I ran a 10K, and there was varied paces. And I was thinking, pick a pace you can maintain. So it was not full on, but I kind of picked a pace that I would maintain, but then I'd start getting tired, I'd slow down a little bit. Then times where I'm like, ooh, second wind, kind of speed up a little bit. That is part of it. So when we miss a day, it's not failure. When you have your plan and you miss a day, it's not failure, it's feedback. The universe is guiding you. Life is asking you, are we doing this from love or pressure? Or maybe you notice every day it's really hard to get that one thing in. Maybe we need to adjust then. Maybe that's not the best time that's in the most self-love. It's just feedback. What's going on? When my clients that have struggled with this learn in some ways or have their own realization that success isn't about perfection and it's actually not about the plan. It's about how quickly you realign. It's about being in love. It's about ultimately you're here to love yourself. So a rigid plan with no flexibility isn't in love. Being hard on yourself when you miss a day isn't in love. Thinking from a pedestal that every day you should get up at 5 a.m. even though you have a newborn or you actually don't, you don't like mornings or don't take someone else's plan and pretend it should be yours. It's not about pushing through. It's about allowing yourself to be human, starting to trust your own rhythm, and allow yourself to show up maybe a little bit differently each day. Or if you are someone that loves a plan, just understand that sometimes you're going to want to go a little bit longer. that meditation wasn't quite enough. And sometimes you may only have 7 minutes. So we need to be flexible and allow that to come in. And when we completely leave the plan for a week or 2 weeks, allowing ourselves to come back out of self-love. Because after a while we go, oh, but stretching really did feel good. And then we come back to, you're worthy of that. We should go back to that plan. Like, okay, allow yourself to come back. So let's go more tangible. How to create a plan that sticks in the best way that I can describe it in this type of format. I want you to think about your deep why. Like, what is the plan doing? Or what is it? Is it a health plan? Is it a business plan? Is it a highest self plan, self-care plan, whatever? And then I want you to ask yourself, like, why? Not just, I want to be healthy. Why does this matter to your soul? Why does this matter, this area of life? Why does this matter to your future self, to your higher self? And I want you to think about that for a little bit. I'm not going to pause here for 15 minutes because that would be weird and you'd probably go somewhere else. But I want you to think about, so it's a health plan. Why? Because I want to be healthy. Why? Why does this matter to your soul? Because I'm worthy of it. Because I want to thrive. Because this is part of my healing. Because this is a reflection of loving myself. Because I'm worthy of thriving. Because I want to make the rest of my life the best of my life. Because I want to be here for my kids. Because I want to be able to hike again. Or I want to move around with more confidence in my body. Why? Why does this matter to your soul? And then after we get some clarity there, we want to shift from motivation to identity. Shifting on an identity level. Instead of, I have to do this, I should do this, we start to shift into, this is who I am. Health is important to me. Self-care is important to me. I am someone who is showing up for myself. I am someone who is learning to show up for themselves. I am someone who values health, fitness, nutrition. I am someone who values my own mental well-being. I am someone who meditates. I'm not stating all of these for myself. I'm speaking as you. This is who I am now. I am now living a higher path for myself with divine grace and flexibility. But this is who I am now. This is what's important to me. I am spiritual. I am into self-growth. I am moving forward. I am successful. I am evolving. So we shift from I should, I want to, into identity. What identities are you evolving into? Or what part of yourself is really being solidified into a new identity? And then I want you to build in the flexibility and the trust. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect. You don't need you to be perfect. Your future self isn't saying, you better do it. I did it every single day. No, it's an energy and an effort and a you're worth it thing that they want you to believe, but not that you have to be perfect. You just need to be willing. I'm willing to come back into self-love. I'm willing to nurture my goals. I'm willing to be open to how I can, live a more fulfilled, happy, joyful life. We just need to be willing. We just want to want it. So understand that if you don't journal every day, if you don't eat nothing but nuts and seeds and kale, if you have the cupcake, if you don't journal for a week, if you stop doing your cold dips for a week, you can always come back. Because the person who has the identity, and I heard someone say this, it might have been Aaron Doughty recently. It wasn't me, but it spawned thoughts. But I heard someone say that like a runner identifies as a runner. I'm a runner. So they run. And whether it's raining or sunny, they run. And if they're on vacation or they don't run one day, they just go back to it. Maybe they take a week off to rest their body, but the identity of the runner doesn't change. So as you solidify a new identity of I am someone who looks after themselves, I am someone who is self-growing and evolving. This is who I am. I do love myself. I am that person. I'm learning that. I show up for my health. We have that flexibility and that trust. And if you don't do it for a day or whatever, your identity doesn't change, and that identity will bring you back into that deeper why. You need to be willing, though. You need to be willing to shift. You need to be willing to push through resistance, but in love. I'm willing to love myself. I'm willing to nourish my goals. And then again, we make self-love the foundation. Your actions should be a reflection of how much you value yourself. And your actions, P.S., are a reflection, whatever type of actions they are, of how you value yourself. That's where the actions come in. And there are times when I've shared with you guys, I'm like, oh, I really want to do yoga. My body hurts, or it'd be so good. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do these emails. Oh, I'm going to do this other stuff. And then I'll go like, Talia, get on your mat. Because you love yourself, because you're worth this time. And I say it kind of in humor and kind of in sternness of like, get your butt on the mat. You are worth it. And I'm like, okay. And that helped to rewrite patterns of like, oh, I just haven't done yoga in 3 months. Like I don't let myself get there anymore because I'm like, get on the mat. You're worth it. And it's in that loving but stern tone. Love is the foundation. F the plan. Come back to love. And let love fuel the plan. So recommit instead of quitting. So the plan only fails if you stop, realign, and adjust when needed, right? Like adjust. You should be adjusting your food, your daily practices, your exercise as needed. So instead of quitting, adjust. Readjust. There was an episode now years ago, but it was talking about sometimes it's not a problem with the goal, it's in our approach. So we just have to keep pivoting until we kind of find that through line. So instead of quitting, recommit and be willing to switch it up a little bit or see what is it that's going on here. Bring back your why. Recommit instead of quitting. The last thing I want to say to bring this home, the plan itself is just framework. The glue, the thing that actually makes it stick is you. You will find a way when you are in self-worth. You will find a plan. You will carve your own plan when you are in self-love. When you're clicked into your why. When you give yourself the grace when you mess up, when you're this way or life throws you that way and you give yourself grace. When you trust in that. That is when the plan happens. So what you can start to do is in the area of health, in the area of money, in the area of business, of self-care, of daily practice, I want you to write out all the different actions that your future self would do as part of it, not every day, but just all the different actions. Like for health, it could be walking, hiking, yoga, drinking water, like all the different things. And then we start looking at that and start going through those steps that I just mentioned. Find the deeper why. Why does this matter to you? Shift into these are the things I do. This is my identity. It's not motivation that you have to do all these things. It's not a chore. This is who you are. And when you claim that and you become that naturally, there is no other option but for life to shift, for results to happen. This is what I do. These are the types of actions that I do in my life. Create the plan that feels the best to you right now. Like Mondays could be this day because I'm off work early that day, and Wednesdays would be a good day for this. Like make the plan, but allow flexibility, trust, and love to guide you. Make self-love the foundation. I love myself. So if you've had a long day and you're emotionally exhausted and all you want to do is have a bath, but it's supposed to be like legs and back day, have the bath because that's in more self-love. But maybe tomorrow you could go on a good hike that works your legs. Like we ebb, we flow because love is the foundation. That's why you're showing up. That's why you get on the mat. Not for the plan, for you. And then instead of quitting, recommit, pivot, adjust. You only end if you end it. And as you get into that extra mile, as you continue to show up for yourself because you adjust it and it's not all or nothing, you start to really feel those results. And that's when the plan really does work for you, because they say all plans work. If you go download a fitness plan right now from somewhere random and follow it, it'll probably work, right? But what plan is for you? What plan is long term? It's about sticking to things. It's about flexibility. It's about trust. It's about coming from that deeper place. Okay, so create your plan. Just don't forget the glue. Be willing to abandon the plan to focus on self-love at any time, nurturing your goals over forcing, loving yourself over pressuring. And you've got this. And if you've been called to one-on-one work, I have some incredible rounds ready of breakthrough mentorship. There's a few options. I would love to work with you. One signature option is a 5-week period working together, moving you forward in the goals and in the areas of life that are most important to you, that we always are addressing healing, tangible actions, spiritual growth and development, and everything needed to help you move forward in this phase of life. So if that resonates with you, you can check the show notes below. There are options and links, and there's just lots of stuff down there, including my books and everything else. So I will see you in the next episode. You're doing a great job. See you soon. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I really hope that it served you. So before you go, I want to share something with you. If you're loving these conversations about self-growth and healing and moving forward, and you're really ready for more tools, more implementation, more integration, more structure, more what do I do? I invite you over to On the Path. This is my only private community, and honestly, it's the place to be if you want to integrate, if you want to deepen your journey and you find my work helpful. Here's the vibe: bite-sized practices, ongoing support, deep dive episodes, weekly practices, monthly challenges, literally just keeping you on your path, showing up for yourself day by day, week by week, month by month. So this is where you really put it into action, and I've got your back with these assignments, tools, practices, shifts, deep dives, meditations, journal prompts, and literally everything you could need to carve out your unique journey of self-growth, self-healing, and transformation. So I'm not going to go on and on. If you feel called, you feel called. And if you check below, because you made it all the way to the end of this, you'll find a link to join On the Path for the first month for only $11. So after that, it's just $27 a month, and you can go at any time. Okay, my love, I genuinely hope this episode lit you up, and I can't wait to welcome you over to On the Path, and I cannot wait to see you also in the next episode. Thanks so much, and have a great day.